What's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Counters, No Combos. I know I've been away for quite some time. I do apologize for that. But I've been away for good reasons. I've been really busy. You know, the growth of the channel has been exponential. I'm really happy about that. And where we are as far as, you know, sponsorships and being a competitive player and stuff like that, we're in a really good spot right now. Speaking of sponsors and stuff like that, shout out to Computer and Gaming Universe. That's my locals. I am on the store team, as you guys already know. Really good place to play. If you guys live in the northern Jersey area or the tri-state area and it's not too far of a trip, come down. We're usually doing a lot of events during the week, you know, Mondays, Wednesdays, sometimes Fridays and stuff. And our locals definitely has, you know, the bigger events like the ARGs and the stuff like that. So if you guys are in the area, or if you're looking for a place to play, if you live in North Jersey, come on down. It's 256 Ferry Street in Newark. I'll put the link in the description below if anybody's interested. Shout out to them. Thank you for letting me be a part of the team. Also, shout out to Shenron's Lair. I am on their featured content creator page. Shenron's Lair is a really good website for the Dragon Ball Super community. They do a lot of articles. They do power rankings. But the main reason I use them is for the online deck building. Basically, if you don't want to rummage through your collection or you don't want to actually have the physical cards to build the deck in real life, you can go online, build it up, you know, make multiple versions of it, and then translate them to the actual game, or you can play on Untap or Octagon to test the deck that you're building before actually going through the effort of building the deck and sleeving it up. So if you guys are looking for like an online database to make decks, definitely check out Shenron's Lair. I will also link them in the description below. So this past weekend, or started a couple weeks ago, we had the ARG Easter Extravaganza. For mine specifically at my locals was on the 25th of March, which I was able to top 8. I did get the mat, and I did pilot Mass Saiyan to a top 8. I took 8th overall, so I was like right on the bubble, and I did end up losing in top 8 to another Mass Saiyan player. But it was a really good event. 3 out of the 5 of the tops were our store team, Computer and Gaming Universe, or CGU for short. Shout out to Enrique and Danny for topping as well. So we had a really good showing. It was a really good event. And, we just had a lot of fun. And I know this past weekend was actually Easter, so a lot of you had your Easter extravaganza. So shout out to all of those that were able to top, and shout out to all the champions. Congratulations. I'm sure you guys had as good of an experience as I did, and I'm sure you guys are happy with your winnings and your prizes and stuff like that. So I am going to showcase the deck. I'm going to do it a little quicker. I'm not going to, you know, go card by card. I'm just kind of fan everything out and show you guys what I piloted, as you have seen a Mass Saiyan deck profile on this channel before, but it is a little different. I did make a few tweaks. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the profile. Alright guys, so as you can see here, I laid out the deck that I used at the ARG Easter Extravaganza. I did get the playmat. Honestly, I'm not a fan of it, but you know, I'm grateful that I was able to get one, but I'm not really, you know, fond of the artwork. But that's a conversation for another day, and I'll probably get a lot of heat in the comments down below, but hey, that's just how I feel. So anyway, on to what's important. So I did run Mass Saiyan. I did do a dual color red and black engine. As far as the deck itself, it ran really well. I wasn't too happy with the Legix. I just feel like in theory, it's a great card because it's a free blocker if your opponent has a card on board. But I feel like Mass Saiyan, like, the deck needs to play aggressively. So I feel like you need, where you have Legic in there as a blocker, which is good for defense, you can utilize either like another draw card or like a combo card or something like that. This is by far, and this is not going to be my final build by far. Like, I'm definitely going to tweak it to my playstyle, but this was an interesting build because I felt like I had a little bit of everything, but then I realized that you don't need a little bit of everything with this deck. You just need to win as quickly as possible, especially with a meta that's littered with Mecha Apes or Mecha GT or Mecha whatever flavor of the week it is. So, yeah, I would probably take out the Legix. But otherwise, the red package I was really happy with. Pan is a great card, but she was primarily my red energy, just because I wanted to hold on to my Kabas and my Topos for as long as I possibly could. So she mostly became red energy. And then as the tournament went on, I kind of used Legic as energy and kept Pan to like use her effect to draw. But this deck, like, because you're playing a red-black and black doesn't require any specific color energy, you're basically just charging all your red cards. So having 4 chargeable red cards is really good because you only need really 2 red energy for this deck to be properly piloted, you know, because the Topo here, you know, he's a 2 red, he costs 2 red as a counter when you're awakened or when your opponent's awakened. So it's a really good card in that aspect because it gives you a 20k body to put on board, and you also get to counter and attack. So essentially you're running 8 counters, and I felt like Legic was just too much as a blocker. So it's like running 12 counters. But Topo also is a pseudo aggro card. He's kind of like a mini Jiren. Topo is probably the MVP like of the deck. You know, just being able to punch your opponent's rested cards and restanding is just too good. And you also get to negate an attack when you're using it defensively. So it's really good. A lot of utility out of that card. But so far for the red, like, I'm happy with the red the way it is. If any changes I would make, I'd probably take out the Bodyguard Legic for sure. And I'm kind of debating on whether I want to keep the Vados Assistance in or not. Like I said, Topo is a really good negate, and having that extra negate with the Vados is really good. I just feel like this deck could be a little more aggro and have a little more utility. So there's a couple ideas I'm playing with to see how I'm going to, you know, change it up a little bit. But, you know, we'll update that down the road when we get to it. And then as far as the black package, I mean, it's your standard black package. I mean, you have to run 4 of the super combo because it's probably the best super combo in the game. Haru Haru. So Haru Haru is a great card only if you're playing against the yellow or green leader, which as a meta call, it was great because in a big tournament like that, you're definitely going to see a lot of mecha. But literally against everything else is completely useless. So game 2, I sided that card out like you wouldn't believe. Like, it came out so many times. But Haru Haru against the yellow or green leader is really good because of its utility. You know, being able to bring it out and restanding 4 energies is just too good, you know. You can bring it out with, you know, in combination with Killer Sword Trunks or Dark Plot, and it's just, it makes those cards free, essentially. Like, Dark Plot, you don't get to untap with Haru Haru because it doesn't have an Overwhelm key skill, but you get to untap with Haru Haru. So you're essentially using Dark Plot for free, and you're evolving Killer Sword Trunks for free because you have to tap 4 energy anyway. So I like that combo with it. But again, it only works against yellow and green. So I made a meta call. You know, it was a 50-50 card. I think 3 might be a little too much. You really don't want this card in hand. If anything, you want this card in the drop, or you want to use it in a combo so you can overwhelm it. Because you want that card in your warp. Because you want to be able to bring it out with Dark Plot or Killer Sword. So you want it in your warp. You don't really want to hard cast it unless you have no choice. I mean, it is a 15k body with crit. So that's good because it has the same theme as the leader with the critical. But you really don't want to hard cast it. And then it's other auto that people think it's a mandatory effect, but it's not. Its other auto is that when it comes into play, you mill the top 2 cards of your deck, but it's up to 2 cards, so you can choose 0. You don't have to mill 2 cards when you bring Haru Haru in. Whoever's telling you that you have to mill the top 2 cards is wrong. That's not the effect. It clearly says up to 2 cards on there. You don't have to mill it, so you're just bringing this in to use the auto to untap. Unrelenting Assault Trunks is really good. It's a free black card. I think 3 is too many. I might bump that down to 2. Time Patrol Trunks is really good. I liked it at 3. I feel 4 is too much, but I like it because it gives you utility, and it's an evolve target for Killer Sword, which is probably your best black card in the deck just because this in combination with the Haru Haru is just too good. And a Double Strike is nothing to laugh at, you know, 20k Double Strike. And because it's a Xeno Evolve, it stays on board. So it's not like you overwhelm it for 1 turn and that's it, it's gone. So a lot of the times what I like to do is I like to either play the Time Patrol Trunks and search 2, or play the Unrelenting Trunks, which gives me a card back in my hand. Then I like to evolve the Killer Sword on top of it, get the Haru Haru untap, do whatever I have to do, and if I have another one in hand, I'll just evolve it right on top of the other Killer Sword and pull the other Haru Haru from the warp and leaves me 4 more energy open. So it's like a continuous loop with it, which is really, really, really devastating if your opponent doesn't have the resources to get out of it. As you can see towards the bottom row, Mirror from the Darkness is really good. Being able to use your leader's ability turn 1 and do like 15k crit, or if you have the double strike Champa, you can do 25k crit double strike, and that gives you the overwhelm for this Mira. You're doing 3 damage turn 1 critical, so you're not giving them hand advantage, and they're kind of behind the 8 ball. Like if you can do that to Mecha Frieza turn 1, they're already putting themselves down to like 5 or 6 life anyway. So if you do 3 more damage and it's critical and they're not negating it or they're not adding cards to their hand, you're in a really good spot, because when they go to activate their effect off their leader, it's going to be crucial when they choose to use it or not. So I like Mirror from the Dark. I think 3 is a really good number. I have been finding that the ratio for Overwhelm cards, for me personally, is much more viable at 3 copies instead of 4 copies. Like as you can see, my main Overwhelm cards are at 3 instead of 4. Just because you could get more utility out of the deck. You know, this deck does mill a lot, so you're not really going to be playing all of these cards every single game. And I think giving you, like if I was running 4 Miras and 4 Time Patrols and 4 of this Mass Saiyan, that's 3 card slots that I could have used for something else. So I just feel like 3 is a better number as far as ratios are concerned, because you kind of want to have a 50-50 split when it comes to the colors in this deck. So it's like 24 red and like 26 black, or like vice versa. You want to make sure that you have a good number between the two of them, because you don't want to have over black or over red. So it's just weird math, but I like the numbers where they're at. Increasing Evil Mass Saiyan. This card is really good. I have found in recent matches that I tend to hold on to my Kabbas till a later game, just because it's a 1-drop threat that can do double strike, you know, by taking a life. So I'm using the Mass Saiyan more as my Awaken card. I think 3 is a little too much, just because the way the format is right now, it's so aggressive that people are gonna put you to 5. Like it's almost irrelevant having so many self-awakening cards, because people are gonna I feel like people are gonna put you down to 5 regardless, and they're just gonna wait to be able to bring you down from 5 to 3. But so essentially you only need 1. You know, because you bring them out on turn 5, you pop something, you take a life, you awaken, you draw 2 cards, and then you're off to the races. I really like this card, but I probably put him down to 2. This card did absolutely nothing for me. Mass Saiyan is a really good card, but only 1 copy in the deck is terrible, especially when you're milling with your leader. I did not get it off once in the tournament. I barely saw it. It was always milled off or overwhelmed for me. And because it's a 5-drop, it doesn't have any synergy with Dark Plot or with Killer Sword Trunks. So it kind of makes it a little obsolete in this deck. He's a really good card because he does a lot against the veggies, like the Kabbas and the Kales and the Khalifas, which is really good. But, you know, if that were the case, I would probably just take it out of the main board and just side 2 of them against that, you know, the veggie package. But yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to play this card once. And then Dark Plot is sneakily, you know, one of the best cards in the deck when you're playing yellow. So in this deck specifically, this deck was built to be able to have a decent matchup against yellow, because Mecha Frieza Apes is a thing. So with the Dark Plot, being able to fetch the Haru Haru and then restanding, it just puts a lot of threats on board, which, you know, they're gonna burn their blockers. So if you can get them down to 2 life and have them just burn their blockers or their negates and just grind it out, eventually you'll be able to have a successful attack through with Double Strike, because this deck is very simple to do Double Strike, because you have the Kaba or you have the Champa, or, you know, if you want to just kill everything with Topo, like if they don't combo over their apes, which 9 times out of 10 they always do, you can just restand with Topo. So this deck was literally built to play against yellow. But I realized I played in the tournament, I played 3 mecha. I played 3 mecha. I played a mirror, and then I played a golden Frieza. So I played 4 yellow and 1 mirror in Swiss, in 5 rounds of Swiss. So these cards were live the whole day because I was playing against yellow. But literally against the mirror, like, they both came out. I feel like Dark Plot, with the deck build that I have, is not a good card against any against the blue or red leader or black leader because I don't have a lot of targets. And I know I do, but at the same time in my head I feel like I don't because Dark Plot only untaps when you bring out a card with Overrun key skill. So I have Time Patrol Trunks. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 targets essentially. I made a mistake playing round, I think it was round 4. I was playing against a Golden Frieza and I Dark Plotted for the super combo. And I didn't get to untap. I mean, it was obviously my mistake, but I didn't like that mistake, so it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. So I feel like if I'm going to utilize Dark Plot in the main board and make it more versatile, I need to have better overwhelm targets because Haru is not an overwhelm target. Neither is the super combo, and neither is Killer Sword Trunks. So it kind of like limits you for that, but maybe I'm just being too analytical about it. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a great card if you're playing against yellow or green, but if I was playing against like a red or blue leader, I would probably side it out. But that's just my opinion. So this is the main deck. I definitely would make some tweaks, but I was happy with the results. And now I'm going to get into the side deck. All right, so this is the side deck that I used. As you can see, I have 3 Son Goten Family of Justice, 3 Awakened Warrior Bardock, 3 SS3 Bardock, 3 Relentless Destruction Mira, and 3 Ultimate Judgment Jaco. Now, the reasoning behind this side deck was honestly just to have answers to multiple decks. So the reason I ran the Gotens was to be able to have answers to the veggies. So like be able to pop the Kabbas or the Khalifas or the Kales if their cost was reduced to 3, which is it's so easy for them to do. So that was my answer for that. Or getting rid of like troublesome blockers like Yajirobe, stuff like that. That's why I had the Goten in there. Honestly, I never sided it in. I just didn't feel like I needed it. There was one match where I thought about siding them in against when I played Golden Frieza Veggies, but I just didn't need to. I don't know why. It was just I wasn't liking the synergy with it, just being a random green card in my deck and having to tap an energy to use it. I don't know. I just felt like I was minusing using it. But again, I get in my head sometimes, and I could be weird about things. And then I had the Bardock package, the 4-drop and the 5-drop. I really love the 5-drop SS3 Bardock because it's an answer to Barrier because it just sends everything. But the reason I didn't main them was because I had a discussion with my team, and we all felt like the way the meta was at right now, usually games are ending by like turn 4, so I wouldn't have an opportunity to bring this card out. But then when I played the tournament, literally every match I played went past turn 5, except for the mirror match in round 5. So I was like kind of cursing myself out, like, why didn't I go with my instincts? But that's why we have conversations, right? And that's why we test things out to see if they work or not. Obviously, against Mecha, like, you do have to play around Cold Bloodlust. They usually always hold on to that one Bloodlust in game 2 because they always know that you're going to side in hate against them. So essentially, I guess it would have been a waste of a card if I were to overwhelm into this and then evolve and try to push everything back just to get bloodlusted, because then I would just lose next turn because I'm tapped out. So I guess in theory, it all depends on how you want to do things. But if you were able to survive until turn 6 and be able to get it off, it's essentially really good. Because this Bardock evolves over this Bardock. It's the only target you have to evolve. And he's a 5-drop 30k triple strike that when he evolves, he sends all your opponent's battle cards back to their hand. So, honestly, the other reason I cited it was because for some reason I struggle against Pan. And I think it's because they just put so many double strikers on board. So I have like a hard time playing against that deck. So that's my answer to Pan. Because I know I'm going to get to turn 5. And I know there's no Bloodlust in that deck. So I'm just going to drop this on turn 5, send everything back, and then just swing for triple strike. Hopefully for a game on that turn. So that's my answer to Pan also. I might have just given away the secrets to the universe, but if you guys can benefit from it, doesn't bother me. Relentless Destruction Mira. The card is so good. It's an overwhelm 3 and it rips a card out of your opponent's hand. I did a lot of cute plays game 2 where I would side this card in. And I would, if I was going first, I would use my leader's effect just to mill 3 and then like overwhelm and bring him out just to rip a card out of their hand so they're down 1 card already going into turn 2. Against the mirror match, this card saves me because I was just ripping cards out of my opponent's hand, and they were like, well, you know, like, why you keep doing that? And I literally got 3 of them off against the mirror, which is crazy. But this card's really good. I'm really trying to find some main deck space for it because it's so good. Ripping cards out of your opponent's hand is bananas. Like, it's so strong. And then the last card is Ultimate Judgment Jocko. This card literally wins you the mirror. And by that, what I mean is, when they go to attack you with their leader and they've already gotten the pump and the crit and they're at 5k, they're going to tap out for that Champa. So they're going to be at 25k. So I would just Jocko their Champa back to their hand and then just combo another 5k and be saved from it. You know, like, it depends on what turn of the game it is. Like, if it's really early, you know, and they're going to put me down from 8 to 6, I might just take it just to be closer to Awaken. But honestly, like, if it's turn 5 and they're swinging for double strike crit on turn 5 and they're not awakened, then I'm Jockoing that Champa back because I know you're tapping out for that Champa. I'm going to be on the draw next turn and I'm going to have an Awakened card in my hand. So I'll be able to Awaken on my turn and plus off the leader. So Ultimate Judgment Jocko literally wins you the mirror. What I would probably do in the future is bump him up to 4 in the side deck because I'm afraid of milling him out. You know, with the leader's effect, so I'd probably use 4 of him, but he literally wins you the mirror when you Jocko back the double strike Champa. But, yeah, you know, I was able to top, as you can see, you know, this is not a fake mat, top 8. But I felt like I could have done a lot. I could have done a lot better than I did because I misplayed a couple times, or, you know, I let Mecha Apes get the best of me because I completely threw my strategy out of the window just because of the way that, like, basically what happened is the Mecha Apes player that I played round 2 was playing really, really slow. Like, he would literally just build his board and just attack, you know, with the Vegeta Ape just for crit 1 turn and then pass, and he would literally have like 5 or 6 cards. I was anticipating him being aggressive, so I was anticipating being awakened by a certain turn, and I wasn't. And I didn't draw into any of my self-awakening cards, so it was really hard to get over that matchup. And I played into his playstyle, which I feel like is what cost me that match, you know, overall. I feel like I didn't side properly going into game 2, and I didn't over aggro. I won the first game because I was being aggressive, but then because I saw how he played kind of slow, I adjusted a little bit, and it ended up biting me in the end. So, moral of the story, guys, play your game. You know, don't let your opponent dictate how you play. Play your game, and then adapt to everything else after that. Also, in my round 5 match against the Mirror, there was a turn where I drew for turn, and I told my opponent that I wasn't going to charge, and then I attempted to restand my leader, but he sharked me and said, you can't restand your cards after you declare no charge. Like, you have to restand all your cards prior to declaring no charge because it's now your main phase, and your cards don't restand in the main phase, they restand in the charge phase. So I wasn't able to restand my leader. We called the judge over and everything, and one of my teammates was watching the match, and he was like, that's BS. But we called over the judge, and it is an actual game mechanic. So in the future, make sure you untap everything before you charge your card or declare if you're not going to charge. Because if somebody does shark you on it, they have every reason to say that because technically it's in the rule book. And that turn, I had to win that turn because I knew that if I would have let him go next turn, he was going to beat me. So luckily I ended up pulling it out. It was actually a pretty epic win, and I'm glad I was able to get the W. But, you know, just keep an eye on what you're doing because you don't want to piss somebody off. And we were on the bubble, so we both had to win the top. So I mean, I was kind of salty about it, but then I understood why he did it. You know, he drove to the store like 2 hours away to play in a big tournament, and he didn't top. So I get it. And then my salt kind of evaporated after I ended up beating him. But, you know, just know your cards, know how to play, know your rulings, know your transitions and your phases, and you should be all right. But I had a really good experience. And I also was able to win the mat raffle on the tournament as well. And I ended up winning this mat, which completes my set now from the tournament kits. I have both of the play mats. My teammate Enrique won the other mat, and he wanted this mat, but you know, he's a cool guy, so he gave me this mat so I can have one of each, and he took the mat with the SS Bardock on it. So now, you know, next time I win, or if, you know, the next time we win, you know, if I win or if I top or something and I get to choose this mat, like, I'll just give it to him because, you know, this is the one that he really wanted, but he knew I already had one, so he's just being a nice guy and let me complete the set. But that was pretty much it, guys. I mean, you know, again, I apologize for being away for such a long time. We've been busy, which is always good. But, you know, expect the content to be pumped out furiously this week. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment down below. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up in the Discord channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support and the growth of this channel. Check out Shenron's Lair. Check out Computer and Gaming Universe if you live in the Northern Jersey area. Great place to play. Great community. Great players. You guys will have a lot of fun. Won't regret it. Other than that, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Be there or be squared.